day one of me rebuilding this 1978 Ford F250. I wasn't gonna do a show model Ford F250. I was gonna use it more as a mountain truck, so if it got scratched a little bit, didn't really matter. But after going through a lot of the stuff, talking to a few people who've rebuilt these trucks and worked on them, painted them, I found out that I got to redo all the grounds. I got to pull the bed off. I got to get a whole new bed. I got to redo the fenders. Got to redo the doors. Got to put new mirrors on it. A new hood, a grill, rear bumper, and I'm putting a lift, tires, new wheels, and disc brakes on the back. So with that being said, redoing all the grounds, I do it without pulling the cab and the bed, but where I got to change the bed, I might as well do an undercoat. So those first few videos are going to be more of me doing the teardown of this truck, taking off the fenders, the whole front clip, the cab, the bed, the fuel tank, and then going clear down to the axles, going nothing but the frame. We're going to put a new wiring harness in it after we redo all the grounds, do the undercoat, and then change the rear main sill. Needs to be redone. Probably just go through all the gaskets on the motor. We're going to put headers on it. 4-barrel carburetor, 4-barrel manifold, all that fun stuff. So today I'm just going to kind of walk you around the truck, kind of show you what needs to be done. The headlight buckets, they're broke all over the door right there. This driver's side mirror is gone. Now the only thing that's good on this truck is the interior. And the interior is actually in fairly good shape. Aftermarket gauges right there. The bed's probably the worst part of the whole truck. The camera really doesn't do it justice, but if you look down the side of the bed, you have this big dent here that goes, and you can kind of see it right there. Typical Ford fender well rust. And this is the good side. That dent or scratch carries clear all the way to the back, almost to the back bumper, and then you got a rust spot right there. If it wasn't for this dent, I could probably fix this side. The bed, the inside of the bed, I mean, it's got right here, it's not even connected anymore, but it's all dented out. Tailgate, it's definitely seen better days. It's coming apart. Coming apart literally at the seams. I mean, I can fit my whole hand in there. The hinge is broke, but I think this is the only side that works. And I mean, you can see the bumper. On this side, I kind of did a mock-up of what the paint job is going to look like with spray paint. So we're going to have a teal, a white line, and then a blue accent line. I don't know if I'm going to do chrome yet. Haven't decided. But here's the worst spot on the bed. The straight side has the worst rust spot. It's actually rusted clear to here. That's all rusted out. Bent right there. Just a mess. It was just neglected for so many years that it just needs to be taken care of. Somebody needs to take care of it, needs to fix it and get it up and going again. It's going to be a long time, but I think I can do it with a little help of my friends and a little help of family. Ideas from you guys. It's only got one door panel and it's pretty sad door panel. It was used as a storage shed once. 4-speed manual locking hubs. It doesn't even have a glove box. Like that goes clear back. There's nothing in there. There's not even a box in there. Dash is falling off. Didn't notice that until just barely. Doesn't even have a rear view mirror. All the dome lights, none of the dome lights work. Only 3/4 of the dash lights work. I got some headers picked out. As you can see, this one right there is cracked. You have an exhaust leak there. And on the other side, you have an exhaust leak just as bad, if not worse. I was quite surprised. It sat for 15 years, and I went to my dad's house, poured a little bit of gas in the carburetor, and it started right up after figuring out a bunch of fuel issues, fuel pump issues. I finally got it to the point to where it'll actually run and run decent. Probably going to get rid of these valve covers. I don't know if I like them or not. I just don't think that they have a very good seal on them. Power steering pump wasn't working. I had to redo all the lines on the power steering pump. Aftermarket extra oil container holder. I got to redo the entire brake system. Brake booster, it's leaking. The rear brakes on the back, they're leaking. I haven't had any coolant leaks. I don't know if you guys can see. I had to put a new fuel pump on it. The old one was leaking internally, so it was leaking the fuel into the oil, causing it to leak out of the rear main. The rear main is completely shot after sitting for that long and not being used. There's a better shot of that exhaust leak. So we're just gonna try to get this truck up and going again. The first step we got to do is get the bed off. I think that's where we're gonna start, is getting the bed off, getting all the wiring undone. I didn't want to do it, but I think that I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be a good place to start. You can see just all this rust, all this oil buildup, grease, and everything. On the steering on it. The steering, I mean, it's so loose. I'm gonna go through the diffs, change the oil out in the diffs. I already put new U-joints on it. All the U-joints were shot. And I didn't I wasn't planning on doing a YouTube video on it, but after going through and seeing a lot of stuff that people, they don't really have a lot of stuff out there on these old trucks. As far as builds go, they have time lapses and that kind of stuff. But I'm going to do a time lapse on other stuff. I'm just getting my creeper out and I'll show you. First of all, I don't know if this roofing screw is stock or not. I don't think it is, but I don't want to pull it out just yet. Leaking right here on my glass packs. And this exhaust tip is completely rusted out. It just kind of free floating exhaust is what we call it. It's cracked all the way around this. And then you get back up here, and this manifold is cracked on the front. You see my new U-joints that I put in. The shock on the passenger side, it's not even like, doesn't even have a bolt on it. Just kind of sits there and wobbles around. You can kind of see how bad the rear main is leaking. It's leaking a little bit out of the drain plug, but that's not a problem. I can get a seal for that. Exhaust leaking out of there. The motor mounts are pretty good. The motor mounts are in good shape, actually. Starter's good. Doesn't click. Doesn't bind up. Transfer case. I mean, you can see all the oil buildup on it. Oil buildup leaking out of this seal. New U-joint. Pretty much the same thing on this exhaust. Leaking out of right here. I already showed you up there. Leaking out of here. And this side's not as bad as the other side. And then the frame. The frame's mainly just surface rust. Not really a whole lot of surface rust, but just typical just your typical surface rust. It's not anything too serious. I haven't found any holes in the frame or anything like that. So there's one bad spot right here in the cab corner behind the driver's side, but I think that I can get a cab corner from the junkyard and fix that fairly easily. Surface rust everywhere. And these bushings, they're totally gone on the sway bar. The sway bar might be wobbled out, actually. And I kind of took, get my light here. And I kind of took, wire weld the rear end, which is when I found that this brake is leaking out of the bottom on the driver's side, which it's from the inside. So that means that the cylinder, the brake cylinder, is actually gone bad. I'd imagine it's just the sills from sitting. The rear fuel tank, I'm assuming is rusted out. I'm assuming we're gonna have to get a new one of those anyway. And the same on this side. That sway bar arm is, at least these ones are bad. Friggin' surface rust everywhere. The shocks are totally gone. Like, they're not even existent anymore. Brake line, the emergency brake lines wore a hole through the freaking shock. The upper part of the shock. And on this side, you probably see that right there. The brake's been leaking through that part of the line. Unless it, I mean, it could be, I guess it could be the I haven't torn any of this apart, so I'm just kind of guessing as to what it is. But I think that's where I think it's leaking from the line itself. But I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna change all the lines, redo all the electrical. I'm gonna buy a whole new wiring harness. There's a better picture of the hood. The roof's in pretty good shape. Anyway, we're gonna get working on this. Shoot me some ideas, things you'd like to see, things hopefully I can put something out there that somebody can learn. I know there's a lot of stuff out there on these old trucks, but they just show bits and pieces. I think I'm gonna show everything that I possibly can. This is gonna be a long process from start to finish. But hopefully with a little bit of help, a lot of time, and a little bit of motivation, I can get it up and going the way that I want it. So help me out, give me ideas. Thanks.